I got sound back.
Yeah, and the SD card worked.
Perfect.
Just a little jiggle, Sam.
And we're live
We're back.
on SANDCAST.
Yeah,
Full SANDCAST squad. We got Bourne's home, Savvy's home for like 2 days,
Yeah.
and then after Hermosa, you're gone, and I'm home for today, and then I leave for Wapaka tomorrow.
World
So
travelers.
we're back.
World travelers.
We're back for a
We're
second.
home for a day.
Yep.
Love it. Love it.
So I leave for Wapaka. You guys have Hermosa, but then you hit the road right away, right?
Mm-hmm. On Monday, I fly to Portugal for a challenger, straight to Morocco. Me and M-Day.
Okay.
We're the 1 seed in the qualifiers, so we're just...
I think you'll get in.
I know. It's past the date to drop, but after Stad, we're hoping someone pulls out, so we bump up.
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine, but
Decent chance.
be nice to not have to qualify.
Yes.
For sure.
I feel bad for Em. I'm just bringing her down, but, we'll see. And then I go straight to Morocco. I picked up Carly Khan, so we'll do a little split block in action.
Little
Yeah.
Hawaiian action.
Yeah.
Let's
Love
go,
that.
She's
Carly.
so rad. She's so rad, and she can't do Atlanta for some reason, so she didn't have to do the Atlantic City qualifier.
Okay.
So that worked out. That was a tough one for me trying to find someone because everyone wants to do the Atlantic City Tour Series. So picked her up, which is awesome. I was already going to be there, so I really wanted to make that happen. And then it actually ended up being cheaper to get a flight from Morocco to Fort Lauderdale than it was to go home and then get a flight from LA to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
So we're doing that and then straight to Atlanta. And then I think it's home for a weekend and then Manhattan, home for a weekend in Chicago. So it's going to be a wild couple weeks here.
It's a sprint to Labor
It's a
Day.
wild couple
from
weeks.
Here on out.
But a month on
Yeah.
the road, I think that's the longest I'll be gone. But
Yeah.
Evan, and Bill, the trio, just cruising the world.
Oh,
It'll
they're
be
gonna
fun.
be at those events too.
Yeah, they're in the qualifier.
We're
for
going
both
to
those.
Portugal as well.
You are?
On
Okay,
Monday.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be
So
fun.
maybe see you on that plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, we specifically are trying to avoid Morocco, so we don't have that many events before this AVP run.
Yeah.
But we also just came off a 5-weeker on the road.
Yeah.
We're a little emotionally drained.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the side that I didn't realize was so hard because there's like the 3 sort of spheres of like well-being is like physical health, which I thought was like the hardest part.
Right.
But it's probably the easiest, I think.
Yeah.
Mental health is like how long can you stay focused and engaged. And the emotional part is just like
Right.
the volatility of winning and losing and being away from home, especially now that you have Naya who
I'm
changes
totally
so much
learning
every
about
week.
that.
Yeah.
I'm totally learning about
It's
that
hard.
right now. I'm right in the same boat. You said it well. It was like you kind of put that in the mental category. But actually I found a docuseries by like Gotham Chopra or whatever, like you know, that whole family was like a guru.
The docu family.
Kids of some guru, right?
Yeah.
But they they brought Draymond Green in on for his first, it's called The Sessions.
Okay.
For his first like mindfulness session, basically, like introducing him to it, but like with the best in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just super interesting, but they were kind of talking about that, like hitting that, like emotionally, how are you? And he's like they were telling him 1 through 10, like answer quickly, you know, mentally, physically, it was like 7s, 8s.
Yeah.
It's like emotionally, he's like, 4? Like, yeah, you're struggling, like emotionally. I was like doing that, you know, and checking those boxes for myself. I was like, oh, that's one of those things I have to like worry about too. I'm like, I'm kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, like that's hasn't really been a thing. And then I'm looking at where I'm at and what's different this year versus last and the changes. I'm like, oh, okay, now it's starting to make sense why I'm like doing the same workouts, but they're like harder now. And I'm just like more frustrated and it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah. And for you, I think the novelty rush is gone too, where it used to be, at least that's how it is for me.
What do you mean?
Where like, you're going to Morocco, I'm going to play in Africa. You get
I
that
know.
rush.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. And then you look at it and you're like, how long is the flight to Africa?
It's like the Phil Dahlhauser's like on the far end of that spectrum, you know, where he's just so over the world tour.
Yep.
Like we saw him running this morning and I was like, that's what Phil looks like when he knows he doesn't have to go on the world tour. Because he's done it for so long, he's so over it. And then Savvy's on the other end of it, like, ooh, get to check off that box.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah, so I feel like that for a while, and that's how I was with Switzerland. I was like, Switzerland, like a Swiss tour event, like really
Right.
cool, and I was super excited about doing.
You're like telling me all about Geneva. I was like, that's great, man. Like,
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me to go there. Geneva's, or where was it? Zurich?
Zurich.
Yeah. Oh, it's so awesome. This and that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad it's you then.
Because we hit each other on the complete opposite. You were just getting back,
Yeah.
and I was just leaving, and you were like, "Oh, you lost me at Europe."
Yeah.
So I can't go back there for a while.
Yeah.
I was stoked on it.
Well, I'm going back on Monday, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's the grind.
But you got the novelty, Saf.
I know, I'm fired up. It's it gets a lot less exciting when you start trying to book flights. You're like,
Well,
no.
right now, right?
Okay, it's horrible.
Oh my God. Especially going out into a quali. My flight was 2,700 to get to Portugal, and I'm lucky enough. I don't know if you're in the stipend yet to where you get. Well, if you do well enough, you'll get the.
I think in the
travel stipend.
Challenger, you get if you get to like top 9. I think you get
Your
the.
biggest win would be getting that stipend first.
Well, that's what Tony and I's goal was to go try. We were going to go to Lithuania Futures and hopefully try and win. Thank God I got asked by Mailbag to go to Turkey. That flight was $2,700, and we won. I won 500 euros, so that paid for like nothing. I was excited about it, but compared to my flight, I was like, that was basically nothing. But
Yeah.
anyway, so that helps with points, and then we were going to go to these two challengers in hopes to do well to try and get into the stipend by August. That was just like, it was kind of a stretch, but we're like, screw it, let's go for it. Maybe we can do it.
For sure.
Obviously, that didn't work out, and I ended up, as much as Mailbag helped me get points, I bumped her right up into the stipend, and I'm like,
really?
her and Em are in, and I'm down lower, but I was like, I mean, she helped me a lot, and
Yeah.
I kind of boosted her too, so there wasn't much I could do there, but that was kind of the goal. But hopefully I'll keep chipping away at that,
Yeah.
and because that would be really, really helpful for me. And I think
Yeah.
Evan might actually be in it.
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
He's
He's
close. He's close. So I don't really know. He's on
Is
that website like
Polanski
all
in
the
it?
time.
Me and Bill have traded for that
Are you
12th
in
spot
it?
for. No, I've been 13. I was 12. And
been
then
so close.
the last event.
Oh, so you were in it.
No, so they reevaluate every
Oh,
quarter,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I was 12, and then Aguas Calientes was the last event of the reevaluation period. Like
and they won it.
So our semifinal, I knew
Oh, right.
that was for the stipend.
Yeah.
And I was like, if we beat Bill and Evan, then
You'll
me and
get
Tim
the
will
stipend.
take 11 and 12, and Bill would be 13.
Right.
And we just got smashed in
Oh.
the semis, and I was so mad.
Yeah.
Like, God.
You were playing for something extra. But
mean,
does
that's-
that you get we're talking about the direct athlete support, which is a monthly stipend from USA Volleyball. But the travel stipend is $1,600 on top of that per event that you go to. Do you get that no matter what, or there's a certain finish you have to get?
So
Based on
the
finish.
futures, I didn't get anything like that and we won.
Futures,
so
you don't get a
I
travel
don't even get it, but
stipend,
I'm pretty sure it's top 9
top 9
or
for
or 5th.
I'm
I
trying
don't.
to
It might be
think if
5th.
4
think I-
stars used to be 17th. 3 stars were 9th. So I guess Challenger might be the equivalent.
I think
The three
they
maybe?
dropped
It might be a
I think I
fifth.
got a travel stipend for Turkey, even though we got dead last.
It might be different because you're like kind of A1.
I don't know.
It's something to look into though, because that's worth it.
Well,
M
for sure.
Stockman and Megan Kraft, they're like, hey, we're looking to bring Jen, who's my coach. Like, do you and M want to do it? And I'm like, I can barely pay for
you're
myself
like,
to get there.
If I can get this $1,600,
If I can get a coaching stipend, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, but I don't
coaching
have
stipend,
that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm trying to fund myself, and that trip to Turkey freaking hurt, man. Like, that one hurts. And
Yeah.
a month on the road, you're just buying the
Hotels,
flights and
yeah.
the hotels. The food in Europe, thankfully, in Turkey was so cheap.
Depends
and
where, yeah.
Depends where, I guess. But then we're Fort Lauderdale straight to Atlanta. So at least with AVP, they give you a little travel stipend and the hotel's
Yeah.
covered, so that helps a lot. But that's the tough part. Like, I'd love to bring Jen, and I love her, and she helps so
100%.
much. But if she's not going to be in the box, which is where she helps me the most,
Right.
and then I don't have the stipend, it's kind of like, I don't know if
yeah,
I
no.
can swing it. All 3 of you guys are in the stipend, and I'm not. So
Right.
if you want to,
Totally.
if you want to go, I'm all on board. But they kind of sent flight stuff, and I wish I could swing it, but right now I just don't think.
Oh, that's
No, because
totally fair.
I'd like to bring her to Atlanta,
Yeah.
or Chicago, and I
Right.
think I kind of want to invest more in that. And then also Carly was so sweet to kind of sign up with me last minute, so I don't want to ask her to pitch in for anything like that either.
Yeah.
So
Well, you got to bring belly digs if you bring Carly.
exactly. Yeah.
And Carly's having a great year.
She
won
is.
gold in La Paz, right? Made the finals in Panama City, and then made the
Made
finals again in Denver.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been wanting a Hawaiian, like, actual local girl on tour for so long.
She's such
I'm
a stud.
Stoked.
Have you watched her
She's
play
doing
much?
well. Not too much, but she's just really well-rounded and
She's
scrappy
so
and
good
all
at
that.
everything, and
Yeah.
like I honestly think blocking is one of her strengths, and she's maybe
Really?
she's shorter than me.
This far.
She gets that high over the
I
net.
didn't even think she blocked.
But she's so good. She split blocks with her partner right now, and she's just her hand placement and her timing. I mean, she swats people all day. She stuffs people all day, and
way.
she's shorter than me. She's just
Hawaiian
really, and she
style.
doesn't get up super high, but she's just so disciplined in
Yeah.
what she does, and her timing and everything is so good. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times she's stuffed me, and I'm like, where did she even come? Like,
Yeah.
where did she even come
Small
from?
blockers are tricky.
Yeah, and then she's
Can't
so
see 'em.
good. Her offense is insane. Her defense is great. I mean, she
Yeah.
is like a very well-rounded player. And
Yeah.
she texts me. She's like, "I'd love to go, and I can run up too if you want me to." I'm like, "Sounds good to me because I'm pretty useless up there." So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to get out there and do that in the future. It's kind of a good taste of the international stuff, and I'm excited to kind of see what the next level is. I talked to Scott Davenport, and I think the level is for these two challengers isn't super high. A lot of teams were dropping out
Right.
after Worlds, so that's a good opportunity for hopefully us to qualify and get a couple points there.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. But I have a couple questions just speaking about
let's get
Worlds
into
and
it.
stuff. Someone just asked what happened to the U.S. at World Championships. I don't know if they're referring to you and Trev or just overall. But if we want to break it down for all the teams, I don't know if you guys have talked much about it, but some good finishes there with
I think
Kim and
the questions seem
Theo.
to have like a negative slant. Like what happened? We didn't have anyone on the podium.
Yeah.
Type deal.
but like they had such a good finish. Cam and
Theo did great. And I think you guys were doing pretty solid, especially considering that if you go and watch the film of your guys' match versus the Netherlands, Trevor pretty much just tucked himself into a sleeping bag and fell asleep.
I know, we
You
should have got
guys
the
beat
poor
a
guy a
pretty good
lawn
team.
chair.
But I mean, our women, I guess, were a little bit disappointing because we didn't have any medals.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard because it's like that format's just so gnarly.
April and Carrie and them really set the bar really high.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But I mean, you guys got pretty unlucky. You had just beaten the Estonians in wherever you were, the
Ostrava.
Czech Republic. I thought your draw was solid.
It's the best draw you could possibly ask for
Yeah.
sure. Not that there's definitely no easy wins, and
Right.
Vitor was playing best he's played in years,
Yeah.
but it's the best draw you could possibly ask for at the World Championships.
Yeah.
That we forfeited.
So that was unlucky. Cam and Theo, I thought, played some of the best ball I've seen them play.
Yeah.
Especially, and they played great in their first set of the bronze medal match against George and Andre, and couldn't sustain it. But then the women didn't podium, but I still think that the American women are the best federation in the world.
Well, the fact that we had four
I would
teams
put us-
there and Taryn and Kristen weren't even in there. Like we
Yeah.
have another
Yeah,
team
that's
that's like
true.
right there, like, and it's crazy how deep it goes. So
Yeah.
What about Sophie and Brandy? I mean, that was
Crazy.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked for Sophie. 'Cause
I
I
know.
remember
Just-
we
they're
were
both
hanging
so
out in
sweet.
Brazil last fall, and Sophie lost first round of the qualifier
Mm-hmm.
like in a pigtail, and she had like just started playing again. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, like I think I'm gonna keep going. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months later, she's taking second in the World Championships.
Yeah.
And they played Agatha and Anna Patricia as close as anyone did, really, the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with like Sophie, World Champs, like biggest stage
Duda?
she's ever been on by far.
Mm-hmm.
Duda and Anna Patricia, right?
Yeah.
You said Agatha.
Oh, did I? Oh, I keep thinking like Duda and Agatha. It just rolls off the tongue
Yeah,
now.
totally.
Duda and Anna Patricia.
Yeah.
No, I was actually thinking like, wow, Travis usually knows more than me, but it was definitely Duda.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard. That format's so tough. And then we had a American, non-American Civil War first round. So
Yeah.
one team was automatically
Yeah.
gone.
It sucks.
So I don't know. I mean, we didn't podium, but I'm not too concerned over it.
Yeah. What about any new partnerships that have kind of anyone that's impressed you or disappointed you in, from any countries in the last couple months? This person mentioned just like how the first few months been with the I guess the Olympic run hasn't technically started, but any early favorites and any good new partnerships that you've seen?
I mean, Sophie. I think has outperformed any expectations. I think she's got to be the leader for Rookie of the Year. If she's, I don't know how you make yourself eligible for that.
Yeah.
Because she's played on the World Tour before, but not at this level.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, Sophie and Brandy have been awesome. Duda and Anna Patricia have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Kind of where like we expect them to be as the top team, right?
I think Sarah Hughes and Kelly Kalinske. I love that team. I think it's such a good personality mesh.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just practiced against them yesterday and they kicked my ass. I was like, they're all the way, like, if I don't put a ball away and serve receive and Sarah digs it, the offense they run is so fast and it's so hard to defend and they're running on two. I mean, it's so high level and
if
they're
you're
both.
Not set up, they just
if you're not set up,
throw it down your throat.
It's so quick.
It's kind of Evie style, which is
because build is the same
style.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
It's the Hayden Evie.
Yeah.
Basically, what me and Hayden used to do.
Yeah.
What's going on with how did Stam and
Schoon,
how did
they had a brutal
finish?
draw. They lost to the Australians in 9th.
Okay.
But they also have been falling off a little bit, like not playing.
Because they started so hot,
Yeah,
right? They won
everyone-
Rosarito.
Everyone kind of gets excited, like, oh, this is the new team.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, back to reality.
Yeah.
There's always a team that jumps in and does really well for a second and everyone gets really excited and then they just get
They fizzle out.
They're back to earth.
fizzle out, but come back to earth
Yeah.
and now you're just one of the main draw teams.
Yeah.
You're a top team.
Yeah, yeah.
But like to sustain that excellence is
It's hard, especially with how deep the World Tour is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, on the men's side, I think it's obvious that it's probably as deep as it's ever been. But the women's side is getting
for
It's
sure.
getting pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Both sides.
The fact that Sophie and Brandy were able to make the finals of the World Championships is kind of astounding, given where they were ranked coming into it. I mean, because they sort of kind of walked their way into it through the side door. I don't think they were guaranteed a spot until pretty late.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they slipped in, and boom, you're in the finals.
Yeah.
Now they're just chilling in Elite 16s. Just
Well, I think they're just the type of team too that when they're hot, and I'm hoping to see them continue. I mean, they're not a U.S. team, but I do like them, and Brandy's so nice too. But if they can stay consistent, they're so physical. I think they're gonna be really successful if they just don't go through as many ups and downs, because they can dip. I mean, didn't they not even qualify for a challenger earlier in the year?
Yeah, they didn't
Something
qualify
like
in Tlaxcala.
Yeah.
Second round.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of been Brandy's upside with her athleticism, and she's played at the highest levels already. Has been she can go off at any moment, but then she can also be in the tank at any moment. So peaking and playing, having one of those good events during the World Championships with a player who you don't really have much expectation for, right? At that level in a World Championships. So it was just one of those perfect moments.
Yeah.
And Sinja Tillman, I don't know if you've watched her play. She actually reminds me a lot of you, how you guys play. And Svenja Muller, they've been awesome. They won in Ostrava out of the qualifier. And then they won bronze kind of by default because Anouk and Joanna had to forfeit.
Oh, yeah.
Joanna, her
Is there any update with that?
I don't know any specifics.
But she was completely dislocated.
Dislocated her shoulder.
Yeah.
I know they had to drop out of Stade,
So gnarly.
which sucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, especially for them.
yeah, but Germany reloading on the women's side as usual, even without Laura Ludwig there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun new teams on the women's side, and the men's just kind of pretty much same old, same old. It's Anders and Christian, Qatar. I love Andre and George.
Yeah,
I love watching George play. And Renata and Vitor Felipe are balling.
for sure.
Have you played them yet?
No,
They're good.
I barely watched, so I don't really know Renato at all. But Vitor's been pound for pound one of the better players in the world. I think it's hard to play for Brazil, especially as a tweener like he is.
Yeah.
So he's never given the best partner usually. Early on, he and Evandro were playing together before Evandro was Evandro. But it's kind of cool to see him stay at it and then break through again and be okay, now I get my moment, my respect, and then it'll be interesting to see if he can maintain it.
He's played with everyone in Brazil.
He's had to grind.
Yeah, he played with
sure.
Alvaro, he played with Guto, he played with Evandro. They took 5th in World Championships in 2013 or
I
something.
think he played with Alisson back in the day too. When He played Alisson in my first FIVB
Okay.
in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. So he played with everybody. Yeah.
And Alisson didn't waste any time. Like the day after World Champs, he's like done playing with Guto.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Well, but he's
hurt.
Isn't he taking the year off?
Yeah,
too?
I think he's just resting until qualification starts.
I mean, that guy's played so much volleyball. He needs to.
Yeah, and he has a new daughter, so I think he's just kind of chilling at home, resting up.
Yeah.
And he's big. Like he's a big dude. It's a lot of jumps.
So he's had a lot. Yeah. When your nickname's the Mammoth, like, beach volleyball doesn't seem to
Doesn't
match.
add up.
Like heat
No.
and sand. No.
Yeah.
Not good for Mammoth.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think of this new tier system? Because I mean, Kame and Theo did so well, and Scott was like, "Yep, now they're not going to play international for a couple months." Like, what do you like? Because they don't want to. Is that just they don't want to risk losing points or like?
No, they're going to hold on to their world
just hold
champs
on to
finish
it.
as long as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all playing to the system.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be changes. You know, we've already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Players aren't all that happy with it. But I don't know. 3 out of 4, I can't say it's terrible. I don't know. What do you think, Travis?
Right now, I love how the AVP is doing it actually, where, well,
What is the AVP doing? Because apparently I'm the 1 seed in Hermosa, but I don't know how. Yeah.
So right now, they backtracked it. So because
I
of
literally
COVID.
don't know why I'm the 1 seed.
So it's like you have all of your finishes from 2019 Hawaii up through present day.
2019 Hawaii.
Up through present day.
So
And that's just win
back when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why?
Because of COVID.
Okay.
Because no one could play in
Oh,
2020.
but we're not going to take the Champions Cup, which we were all playing in.
Well, I wasn't there.
Oh, so. Oh, there we go.
So they took out like 2020 was a wash basically, and then they said 2021 there's only 3 like real
Yeah,
events.
that's true. I kind of forget that. We only played 3.
Yeah.
What else was there?
There's nothing.
No.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so that's why they took it all the
It
way
was
back
literally
to 19.
just
I
3.
literally
Yeah.
Like,
forgot
unless
that.
you did the AVP next, but yeah, there's the 3.
Oh, okay.
Atlanta, Manhattan, Chicago. was
God,
the
we're
one.
taking points from 2019?
Yeah. So right now, until Atlanta, you have a window of you can play as many events as you want. It's your best 4 finishes from the window of 2019 till present day.
Oh, so that's why we're the 1 seed.
And so you never wash out events. And I had people call me, they're like, I think I'm going to skip Wapaka because I don't want to push out this finish. Like, that's impossible. You can't push it out.
Right.
Like, it's just a window.
Right.
I think that's awesome. Because then people can play as many events as they want without getting punished for it.
Right.
So like if Kame and Theo wanted to play internationally, they could and still have their World Championships finish.
Are they using, like, is that World Champs finish good enough to use as an AVP finish for a team like that?
I would think so.
Really? So
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I think it's valuable, yeah.
I do too.
That makes sense.
So I like the way the AVP does it with their point system. And then once Atlanta happens, then it's just a straight up 365 day.
Oh, okay.
Because then from Atlanta last year, I think the reasoning was that everyone's had enough opportunities to play to have 4 good finishes.
Yeah.
Well, and there were a lot of AVP next last year too that like people like Evan played in all of them and finished well and has really the way that I want to talk about this too, the way that they're doing the points. If you win a tour series, it's equivalent to a third in a pro series. So and a lot of people are considering those like AVP wins. Do you guys think those are true AVP wins, the tour series and stuff?
Hell no.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
I actually talked to someone at AVP. I messaged with them and they didn't think that should be either. So it's a work in progress.
Well, I see
Okay,
people
thank you.
posting like people have to qualify for the tour series and they're like,
Oh, you do?
qualified for my
qualify.
first,
How do you
yeah.
Oh, you have
yeah.
to qualify.
They
Oh,
only
you
take how
qualify.
many? They
Oh,
take
wow.
12, they take 16,
Yeah.
and then 8 have to qualify. And I see a lot of people, qualified for the AVP main draw, but it's a tour series. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the
I
thoughts
mean-
are. I get you did qualify for an AVP
There's
main
people,
draw.
I saw a guy at the boba store the other day with his pro beach volleyball
Yeah.
beach volleyball pro shirt on. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I think they need to make it a little more like separated,
I liked your idea of calling it the qualifying series.
Because that is what it is, and I also think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, there is value to that. I would probably want to watch it more because it's the qualifying series. Like, who are the up-and-comers? Who's going to be the next top team on tour? Instead of, like, it mixing and then people claiming the AVP champions or, like, main draw players. Is like, okay,
well, there's such a jump. There's such a jump in, in the level from the Tour Series to the Pro Series, but then the Pro Series and the Gold Series are the same athletes, just more money and more points. So it is definitely different. But do you think, because the points are so good, like for example, Evan and Bill, they keep going to these Tour Series and they finish with 2 seconds, and because they're kind of like a tweener team, like they're in the main draw, but they're like a 10 seed, so they're like trying to get their points boosted so they don't have to worry about anything, but they're going out there
what
for
are
their...
they seated now with all these second
They
places?
just went up, they just passed...
Are they like third?
They're in there. Yeah, they're probably like 5th or 6th now.
They passed John and Hayden and Logan,
Right.
and they're like 6 points behind Billy and Jeremy. So those are the two teams that they're trying to get above, because they're all kind of finishing similarly in the Pro Series and stuff. And for a win, each person gets $4,000. For a second, each person gets $2,500. So that's not a bad payout for 2 days of volleyball. But do you think that more people are gonna start going because the points are so good? I mean, that's why I went to Denver. I'm bringing M down. We're like the 9 seed in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm like, I hope we're okay for Atlanta.
Right.
Like, but because I just don't have, I have points, but not that many. So my goal was to get some more points, because if you have a good finish, I mean, it's super, super high. Yeah. Which is pissing a lot of people off, I feel like.
I think
making a lot of people happy.
I got the feeling that they think it should change as well. But it's a work in progress, and they needed to figure out a system that Bally's would be on board with. From my perspective, it's the AVP's running the AVP, but now just under Bally's ownership. It's not Bally's running it. So they're just having all these restrictions, and they have to pitch it to them in a certain way. So it's a work in progress. I like the Tour Series as a qualifier series. It's just they need to tweak it a little.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and the points, you can't get a 3rd place in a team getting a 5th place in a pro event should get way more points than a person even winning a Tour Series event. Maybe like or equivalent, like close to a 5th, 7th range.
Yeah.
3rd is like crazy.
I think 5th's a good number.
That's
especially
like a career win. For one of those players, that's your best win of your whole career, getting a 3rd place in a top event.
Well, it's like Evan getting a 2nd in Denver, and Muskegon that's his best finish that he's had. Because his best finish on tour is a 7th. And I think it's 2nd is a 5th.
What does Evan value more, his 7th in Austin or 2nd in
That's
Denver?
a really good question.
I'd be interested in
That's
that.
a really, really good question.
I
feel like he has high standards. But like, he expects himself to come and he's trying to be a top player.
Because he's not happy with a 7th.
He's not claiming
He's not happy with a 7th or a 2nd.
Right.
Really, to be honest, he's not happy with either of those.
It's the guys that don't really believe that they can make it on tour that are like, well, I better claim this one now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's never made it to a Sunday, so that's his goal. That's his goal. Get to Sunday, get a 5th, get a 3rd, obviously. But then, he was so upset after his 2nd, because it sucks losing the finals, even though he got good points, good money. He's like, I don't think if he got a 1st, I don't think he would be celebrating like he won an AVP, or he even got a 3rd. I mean, getting a 3rd in an AVP event, so that's a big deal. Like, and at least for me, when me and Tony won our 2 games in New Orleans, we're guaranteed Sunday. I'm like, this is freaking awesome.
Right. Yeah.
But
you
if
still
I
wanted to water down that, like what you earned in the Pro Series, this Tour Series stuff can't water that down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if good people keep going, then I don't know.
You might have an event where like a lot of top players play down, which I don't really like personally. Like the points incentivizing the top players.
I know. Do you think that it should hurt your points if you go and you're a top player? Because it doesn't right now at all.
I think it should count. It will, right? It'll be 365.
It's just a window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I I think it should count.
I don't think they should push anything out. I do think they should just water down the points a little so that the top players aren't incentivized to go play a $25,000 tournament.
Because if you incentivize the top players to go down there, now it's like, okay, we didn't do the weight room work, the mental, all this work to go play in an event where we're really happy to win. What's the prize? $4,000 you win?
You split 8.
You split 8. Yeah.
So you can win $4,000. It's like, maybe if it's like a warm-up event or the timing's good and great, but like to incentivize us points-wise to just go when it's really not worth our time. And you might lose. It's not like it's not a walkthrough at all.
There's a lot of good teams.
It's just, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if they watered down the points, I think it's almost a dangerous thing where if you're the AVP, it's almost a dangerous thing for the top players to be playing, because now if you have you and Trev, Cayman Theo, Taylor's, like all those guys playing down, like, well, why do we need to throw a $150,000 tournament?
The tour's going to be like, well, that was easy. Why don't we just play?
Let's just throw all of our tournaments for $50.
Yeah.
That was Phil's big thing.
It's important for the players to be like, no, we're good on those.
Yeah.
And so I think from a player standpoint, it would almost be, like it would behoove you guys to dilute the point system so that the money, now that you guys like aren't coming down to play, and Bally's is like, what are we doing throwing $150,000 tournaments? We can throw 25
Right,
and we get the same product.
Exactly.
And that was the problem with the star system. And so I think if they water down the points, I think a first at a tour series is probably, I think a fifth is a good number.
Yeah.
And then you have nobody making a living.
Right. Because me and JM, we finished 5th in Denver, which I even put on Instagram. It's like, I don't think it's a true 5th. But I would still think I still consider it my best AVP finish.
It's a tour series 5th.
Yeah. Which
qualifying
I would think,
series 5th. Like, that's pretty good.
Which in my mind is like a 9th in a pro series, because we did have to beat Andy and Miles, which I think if we beat them in a small draw, we get to 9th, which is how I was like, yeah, it's probably about the equivalent of a 9th.
Right.
Which I think is better than anything I've done.
You guys had a really good weekend.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Is JM fun to play with?
He is fun to play with.
You guys seem to connect really well.
Yeah, and we lived together for 2 years.
You did, okay.
And we have a very similar style of play where we just sort of, it's pretty sloppy. Just play like really low.
You guys were fun to watch, yeah. JM's good. Like, he's really a good player, yeah.
And no one's really given him a chance to play before.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun.
Yeah. Good for you. And you guys qualified for Fort Lauderdale. You qualified for the qualifier.
Rafi's
but then you qualified for Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. What did he write?
So Rafi qualified in Denver. So we go to, I qualified to get into the qualifier where I'm going to play a bunch of main draw guys to try to qualify for Fort Lauderdale. That was cracking.
That sums up exactly why we need the qualifying series and stop confusing fans and all that. So fans are like, all right, well, after hearing that tweet or whatever it was from Rafi, I'm officially not a fan of the sport anymore. I'm just going to go straight to ESPN for my sports.
Yeah. I will say that I thought Denver did a phenomenal job. The fans were awesome.
Awesome.
Packed.
That's good to hear.
The whole time.
That's a really cool thing about that series, too, is assuming it's not costing the AVP that much.
Yeah.
You get to go test these markets. And, like, if a ton of people are showing up for those, let's bring a pro to that city.
And Denver showed up, and it was really funny. So after I lost in our quarterfinal, I went back, showered, and watched the rest of the tournament on the stream. So I'm sitting there, and I could see the YouTube comments. And the stream, the way they angled the camera, it was just pointing at the parking lot the whole time. And so the people were just ripping the AVP. They're like, this is the dumbest venue I've ever seen. It's so ugly. So I commented, and I was like, this venue's actually pretty awesome. It's like an 18-court facility. Like, Colorado's beautiful. Yeah, it's in a parking lot. But there's a parking lot there. We need parking.
Right.
But the venue's great. There's like thousands of people here. Couldn't have been any nicer. Yeah. So I commented that, and then Taylor Crabb starts going to battle with me too. And so it's like me and Taylor like fighting on the YouTube commentator.
That's awesome.
Just defending Denver. I loved it. I thought Denver was great.
Yeah, what do you think? Someone asked, what could they have done better, or what can they do do you think that they could run a Pro Series event there with the layout?
I do. I think I like that they during the qualifier the courts were too close. I mean, there was probably 5 yards in between each court, and so we had a ball on like every 3 points. I liked that they went every other court, during the actual main draw.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could, if you're running a 16-team tournament, 100%. A little bit more sand would be nice because they had to shut down one of the courts because people were getting a little bit too scraped up. So a little bit more sand would be great, but I thought everything.
It was really
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
What about the
tournaments I've played in a long
altitude? What do you think about it?
I played 2,500 feet higher in Mexico, so it wasn't too bad.
Was it 2,500 feet higher?
Yeah,
because
it was high.
when we went to Aguas, I was after a long rally. The sand was pretty shallow, and I was so gassed. And the serves, I still felt like people could serve pretty well this weekend, but in Aguas it was like.
Well, Aguas was lower than Tlaxcala.
Tlaxcala was even higher.
Yeah,
wow,
that was crazy.
Wow, yeah.
But the altitude made it a very good offensive tournament because everyone was in system the whole time. No one could jump serve. Like even
really?
Lotman was just popping in floats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
So what do you think of them doing these tour series events during pro series? Or what do you think of the CBVA series as well being ran during AVP events?
What's the CBVA series?
So there's for Hermosa and Manhattan, they ran these two CBVA series.
Well, is there AVP next though, or is that the tour series?
There are still AVP next.
And then there's AVP first. That's just kids.
And this is kids.
The AVP, the qualifier for Austin and New Orleans were both AVP next. Because I had to go to both of those. The tour series hadn't started yet.
Oh, okay, got you.
I think there's a couple more next series.
Isn't the
later
point
on,
of
but-
next to be the tour series? Like,
Yeah, but now the next are what's getting you points to get into the tour series. They're just, as the participation gets higher, they're adding more layers to it, really.
so now we just have a star system.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Now we have 5 tiers.
Yeah.
Great.
Right.
That system worked great.
Yeah.
That's why the FIB just switched away from it.
Yeah. There's not many AVP necks, but the CBVA thing, I think, I don't mind the idea, but the execution's been pretty tough. Because you go to a CBVA that's being used as a qualifier for Hermosa and Manhattan.
If
So
you,
a
it's
series
like
of
three tournaments, and they take your best 2 out of your 3
Best 2 of
finishes,
3.
right?
And so, which I think is a decent idea in theory, but then they're using CBVA points instead of AVP points, so the seeding's pretty wild.
They're also playing games to 21 in pool play and games to 28 in playoffs.
Yeah, no refs.
So it's like, yeah.
So if you're running something that's like supposed to get you like professional event, it's still run by an amateur operation.
Let's just separate professional and amateur.
Yeah.
Or wanting to be a professional.
Well, and then for the one for Hermosa, the first event was during Panama City.
Yeah.
So anyone who was trying to go to Austin missed it. The next one, it may have been on an off weekend. It may have been during an international weekend. I was here, but the last one was during New Orleans. So it's like anyone who's trying to be in the next, go to the next level, go to Panama City, try and qualify, or who is, at the top level in New Orleans can't even do it.
Yeah.
So again, like I agree with you. The idea is great if you can actually do a legit tournament at a time where it doesn't conflict. And again, like for WPAC, like for Manhattan, thank goodness they're doing an on-site qualifier because the Manhattan qualifier is WPAC, which is during Hermosa.
Weekend.
So if you were a team that that's like doesn't have a lot of points and you did well in Muskegon and you qualified for Hermosa, you're missing out on the Manhattan Beach qualifier. So you just have to go, but Manhattan does have an on-site qualifier, and they're taking a wild card from the CBVA series, so you do have other opportunities to qualify. But I don't know why they're doing it on the same weekend. That's just interesting.
Yeah,
Didn't Dave Palm and Rafu, they won Muskegon, they qualified for Hermosa, and they rejected their bid so that they could go to Wapaka.
Yeah, because the points and the money, it just makes, if you're looking at it logically, it makes sense.
If I can get a third and not play any of the top pros.
Yeah.
Because none of the top pros are going to be there.
Yeah.
And they'll make more money in Wapaka.
I'll make more money and get more points.
Yeah.
And I talked to
And not
Rafa
fly
about that
all the way across the country.
in Denver, and he was like,
That's how you know the system.
Dave really wanted to go to
broken.
Hermosa. And I said, Dave, we can go to Hermosa, which is more expensive, and we can play Phil and Casey in the first round. And then we'll more than likely lose, and we'll have to play someone really good in the second round just to get into ninth. Or we can go to Wapaka. The competition's not nearly as good. We're going to get way more points. We're going to make way more money, and we're going to qualify for Manhattan if we do well enough. So logically speaking, Rafa's on the money.
It makes sense, but I just feel like it shouldn't be that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it shouldn't be that way. But
That's.
I think there are a
Exactly.
lot of good
Proves the
ideas. I
point.
think the AVP was just like, let's try all of the things and let's see what's working. And I think that there are a lot of really good things about the tour series. If a
I
couple
agree.
slight tweaks
Yeah.
would make it,
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
really good.
I agree.
Excuse me. I just need to know that it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
You know, and having that open communication would be nice, which we usually don't get. Which I agree that they don't want too much cooks in the kitchen telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, I think as long as it's a work in progress, we're okay.
Yeah.
I like to assume that it is, because they did make a lot of changes, and I figured that with how many changes that were made, they wouldn't think that it was like everything was going to be a perfect system. And so, I don't know. I like the idea of the tour series. I think it's awesome.
Instead of having on-site qualifiers the day before.
Oh,
the
yeah.
event.
I'm way in favor of that. I think it's great. And a lot of people were kind of talking about how, it's so expensive to go from tournament to tournament. But these were also the same people that were complaining about not having enough tournaments.
Exactly.
So you can't have everything.
Well, and you're still, if you're doing the on-site qualifiers, you're still spending a lot of money to go to this place.
For single limb.
For single limb. And if you don't qualify, then it's just kind of, you make $0 at least.
Yeah.
If you go to a tour series, I think you have to get a 9th.
Yeah.
But you still have a chance to make some money and do that. And I think there's a lot more opportunities for people to actually get legit tournaments in.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. And then Josh Glazebrook, I talked to you about this. He just wrote AVP management. Yeah. Do we have a?
You don't want to know, Josh.
I love Josh Glazebrook. I think he's probably just the most unsung hero
For
in all of sports right now.
He's the one that makes all of us players feel okay when we're like, "What the hell is going on,
He holds
Josh?"
our
And he's like, hey, guys, it's okay.
Yeah.
This man, he does everything. Like, he sets up. He's like the AVP
First of all, he's a
director of ops.
photographer.
Yeah.
Insane photographer.
Yeah, he's
It's
amazing.
like usually, the AVP would have a staff photographer or 2 or 3, but
Well, he was
this year,
actually
I
a
think
photographer before all this.
Really?
It's actually a crazy story. If we could ever get him on the show, which he doesn't
Josh.
want to come on.
Come on.
Well, Evan, we were walking by and he was in the parking lot like with his drone and taking pictures. And Evan actually, asked him like, "Hey, were you always into photography?" And I forget what he said, but he was in doing something for several years, like in photography. Yeah.
Dude, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
You know who basically, or who was the first person he kind of like met and like got in with it, the AVP pros and all that, was Robin Hayden.
Really?
I think they were just partying. Like Josh and them were there just like as fans, loved the sport. And then they were partying, and of course Robin's super social and like became friends with them. Josh knew who Hayden was. It was like, "Oh yeah, John Hayden," like,
Yeah.
because he was a big fan of the sport. And then they became friends, and Josh kind of just became part of the group. And then eventually they just started working for the AVP, got in, and then moved his way all the way up. Something like that. We gotta let Josh tell the actual story, but
Yeah.
I think it was Robin Hayden that was like his first in.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know the real story.
And now we have Josh, who is pretty much the AVP's everything man.
He carries us.
Yeah. So I don't even know. Beyond that, like, I think the AVP is just so understaffed. Because like you go to those events and there's not a whole lot of people there. It's like you just find Josh or Jeff Conover if he's there. He's like, "Hey, can you like fix this or whatever?" But
My guy's
Jeff
John
not
King. I
delegating.
just find John King.
Find John King. It's like John, Jeff, or Josh.
Yeah.
The 3 J's.
Yeah,
The holy trinity of the AVP.
yeah.
All the legends.
That's it.
Well, yeah, shout out to the staff. They've been out here since last week. Before I left for Denver, I saw Rick, and I'm like, "What are you doing here, Rick? Aren't you supposed to be in Denver?" He's like, "No, we have to set up 50-something courts." I was like,
Yeah, they set up
What?
early. It's because they have the
juniors
tournament.
tournament.
Yeah.
So they've been out here, and there's a full stadium for this one, which is so exciting.
Is it full? Mm-hmm.
Well, they've already. It might be half. Bigger than maybe not full stadium, but bigger stadium than Austin and
Right.
New Orleans for a Pro Series
Yeah,
event,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
really cool. Because that was the first thing that went up. I biked by and I was like, Oh.
I know. I was like, that's great. Usually we
That's
have
cool.
4 of those, but no, but I'll totally
It's
take
better
it.
than-
oh,
yeah,
totally.
better
It's
than
like
the
a
other
legit, and it'll look
ones.
good on camera too, assuming we put the camera at the right angle.
At the
showing
correct
that
spot.
way, yeah.
No parking
Yeah.
lot.
It's gonna be a good.
No parking
it'll be a
lot.
good layout for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, they've been out here for a while already
Mm-hmm.
setting up, and they still had staff people in Denver setting up, so they need probably some more setup crew, but they do a good job
Yeah.
at what they do. So yeah,
It made me sad seeing Hermosa getting set up. This is the first time I haven't qualified for Hermosa in a while. It's my favorite tournament.
I can't remember last time I played in it, or if I've ever played in it.
Really? Where have you been? Stad?
No, we I was out before COVID when they had it,
Yeah.
and then they didn't have it before that. It hadn't been around for
That's
years.
true.
And then when was the last time that Hermosa ran? 19?
Let's see. So there was 19.
I remember Buttinger won, right?
Him and
So
Casey.
we were overseas.
That's his first win.
Yeah, we didn't play. We were overseas, I think. So yeah, I haven't played Hermosa. I think I played a qualifier with Jeff Carlson back in like 2012 or something, and that's it.
wow.
Because I guess it was 18, 19, and then COVID. Did
Yeah.
it happen in? It wasn't on the schedule in 21. That was just Atlanta, Manhattan,
Yeah,
and Chicago.
exactly.
Yeah, so it was 18 and 19.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
played one.
Huh.
Well, I played that qualifier back in.
It's
Whenever
Hermosa's
it was.
amazing. That's always been my favorite event.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than Manhattan.
Yeah. I don't know why. I've always liked Hermosa better, and I think
Yeah.
because I've always done well.
Yeah.
Like I've qualified every time I've played it.
Oh yeah, I
and
called your Matt. You played in the stadium, right?
Yeah, I got smashed
that
by
match.
Chase and Troy.
Yeah. Right. I remember Hayden. That
Beating
was
the
the
kittens.
first AVP Hayden played in when I was sick. With Doherty, and he made the final, I think.
Okay.
And I was just like up in the box like this is torture. I can't handle this.
You'll enjoy it though, as will you.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I live on 8th Street now, so I'm like right
Yeah, your place is sweet.
over there.
I love your place.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a good little spot. The location is just perfect.
Yep.
My mom was like, I mean, she knows how small it is, so she didn't ask to stay. She's like, yeah, maybe your sister can come stay with you. I was like, it's so small.
Put her on
like,
the deck.
Where's she gonna blow a mattress? And I'm like, Evan. I already had told my mom no. I'm like, Evan, what do you think about like my sister? He's like, no one is staying here. No one is coming over in between games. No one is coming over in the evening. This is like our hotel room.
Right.
Like no one can. He's so like
Yeah.
fired up because
Yeah.
we're 3 streets away. So
Yeah.
he's all I told my parents, I'm like, you guys can come over in between games, and Evan's probably gonna be so mad at me for saying that because I mean that stuff doesn't really bother me in between games and stuff, and it actually might be nice to just get out of the noise a little bit depending on the timing and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're so close, so I'm excited. And I kind of wanted to stay in the hotel, but it's way further away.
Oh yeah.
You can just walk there.
we just-
Hotels
we're
in
just
like
gonna walk.
Torrance or something.
No, you don't want
It's
hotel.
yeah. So we're just gonna cruise on over. I'm excited. I think when does the bracket come out? You think tomorrow or Thursday? When does it normally come out?
I mean, you can figure it out.
I think I know who I play. I just don't know times and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
What do we think about this weekend? Who do you think's gonna take home the W?
We'll take home the real win in Wapaka.
The real,
Hey.
the real AVP. Dude, are you playing with JM?
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
you guys. That'll be a good one.
It's funny. We were like the 17 seed in where we just were at Denver, and now we're the 4 in Wapaka.
In
It's like,
Wapaka.
that's nice.
That's
Like,
nice.
First round bye.
Yeah,
No qualifier.
Great. That's a big difference. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize you guys had to qualify for that one either. You guys played a
Yeah.
lot of games.
It was stressful too, because there's a lot of good teams in these qualifiers.
Yeah.
Like single M.
Yeah.
We lost the first set of our last round to Cole Aidnick and Cash Adamson. And
They had a good
crushing us in the second. I was
qualifier.
like, damn it, I'm gonna not qualify for the qualifier.
For the
This
qualifier.
hurt. Damn.
But they won their first 2. They had a good
They
little
played
run.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's
I haven't
good.
even looked at Hermosa to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know like who's seated where.
Yeah.
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 Seating's it's been such a jumble. It doesn't really matter that much,
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, Cave and Theo have been playing best on the world tour as of late.
Yeah.
So if they keep that rolling, I guess you could give them a top seed. Obviously, the seeding's all over the place, but obviously I plan on playing good volleyball. But we kind of got to find our rhythm to pull it off, which is obviously doable at any moment.
Yeah.
But I think Cam and Theo have been playing their best ball as of late. So if they can maintain that, then you could give them a good chance of doing something maybe.
If you don't mind me asking, what have you guys been doing since Jose got the job with USA? What have you and Trev been
Struggling.
doing?
It's I mean, that guy brings so much energy. Like, it just, like, our team culture just got, like, blended. But so we have Leandro now, who is our assistant, but he was traveling. Obviously he didn't expect Jose to step down as our head coach, so he had his club stuff he had to travel for. He had a trip to Brazil already while we were overseas, and then he actually can't travel internationally yet because he's working. He got married and is in the green card process.
Yep.
So it was literally last Friday was our first practice with it, like first time with
like
a
real
coach
practice.
again. So we're just kind of trying to reestablish where we're at, our team dynamic and whatnot, which is a lot. I'm like learning, like, wow, how valuable it was to, have that guy in between and know the stuff I need to talk to Trevor about, the stuff I need to talk to Jose about, or the coach about, and stuff I can put on the coach versus put on, take off my own shoulders. And it was a lot. It was like a pretty heavy burden to go without a coach after having one for so long. Yeah. But Leandro's really smart. Like, he's very different than Jose, which is why I think it's going to take some getting used to. But he's sees the game, like, at a very extremely high level, which is cool. Like, because I'm trying to, I want to be a little bit more of a thinker. I don't want to lose my instinctual play, and because I know I can't play as a thinker, but like, I think he's going to teach me some stuff, and so I just need to learn how to come in and out of, Leandro mind versus my own, and then teach him also how to speak to me and how to communicate with me versus Trevor during matches, and so there's definitely a learning curve there.
Yeah. Because I biked past you guys, and you were actually doing a training with Jose.
Yeah, well, Leandro wasn't back yet. He was at the club nationals.
And he's had a really good showing with the boys for his group. There's been boys showing up, and the girls' side, I think Tori Van Winden's been going, April's been going, but he's had a good showing with the boys. So I saw you guys there one day, so that was cool.
Yeah, Leandro wasn't back, so we went to get reps there. It's good to get, have group practices every once in a while.
And you guys also do the USA practice. Is that like once a week?
Yeah, we'll do USA once a week when everyone's here.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good too. Yeah. Very high level volleyball. But yeah, we're kind of in a limbo period. I feel like just trying to figure stuff out. Come off of that 5-week stint. It's just a different year. There were a lot of different stuff, but that's kind of what this year's about anyway. Our 1 year out of Olympic qualifying.
It's better now than next year.
Now for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm excited for you guys for this weekend. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be.
I'm excited for you too.
Me too.
That'll be good stuff. Someone else asked, any updates on April and Alix? Does anyone have any?
They're kind of trying to keep it on the down low, I think, for the most part, since they've had so much publicity. But, Alix had shoulder surgery, so clearly she's just taking the year off.
Just rehabbing.
I think even if she wanted to play, it wouldn't be realistic. And then April also had a nagging injury that she decided to finally take care of. I think it was a shoulder.
I think it was her shoulder, too.
Yeah. So both kind of just taking time to try to get the bodies back. They have a massive workload that they've put on their bodies. So I think they're realizing, like, okay, if we're actually going to go for this 2024, we need to, like, give our bodies and minds the proper rest. Because they know how grueling it is to get back into it.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I was practicing with Kyle Friend last week, and Kyle
Does he still live with
really good
April?
friends with April, yeah.
Okay.
And they live together, and April was like, I'm just going to pop down, hang out at practice. So April and Alex just like hung out in front of practice. And I was talking to them, and they just seemed like really happy.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like
I almost wish I could pull that this year.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take the year.
And I think if anyone could get it,
I can't do
like, it would be you though, because like we were talking about like the physical, mental, emotional aspect.
Yeah.
And is there anything crazier than an Olympic run, where like physically you were just like going, mentally you were going, emotionally, like the highs and lows of that, especially,
God, yeah.
and to win gold, like that crazy rush, and then
Yeah.
like the couple weeks after you're doing like the crazy media circus, and then
Yeah.
April gets engaged, Alex got engaged, and
Exactly.
so if I were them, I'd be taking the year off too.
Yeah, no, I would 100%.
Surgery or not.
I would
Yeah.
100% do that.
Yeah.
Do that with them.
They seem great though, honestly. Like when I ran into them, they just like seemed super happy, and just like I think they're probably just, if they want to make a run, like you said, they're just getting the recharge
Yeah, exactly.
they would need.
Yeah. I think they will
Smart.
though. Like that's my guess would be like they're not ready to step away.
Because they would have. Like, I feel like they would have probably been like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Not that they both haven't considered it. I mean, I consider it like every day for the last few weeks. I'm like, well, because for me too, actually a big part of it, like I've just been doing kind of trying to reflect and like, why do I feel this way? Like, why, you know, whatever. And realizing that like Gabby had to take on, my wife had to take on a huge burden and like sacrifice a lot, letting me go all in on this Olympic dream and this Olympic qualifying and taking the burden of the kid. And this year it's like, okay, once Try's done with Olympics, like let's shift back to Gabby and like get her career going.
Yeah.
She's been working on it for so long. And it's worked for us, and it's exactly what I wanted, what she wants. But now that I'm on the court too, I'm like, wow, she was taking a lot off my shoulders by like, you know, just sacrificing and like, you know, putting in more time. And I, also with COVID, I hadn't been away from the kids. So I'm like, wow, okay, I guess it is a bit different. And then coming off with higher, you know, a little higher standards now, top 1 seed, it's like, there's more work, more expectation, but less help. You know, like we're putting our energy in different places now as a family.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Well,
I
then
guess,
they transition to coach and yeah, all
a
that
transition.
stuff.
Yeah, and then we lose our coach, and then, you know, my health stuff is like, if I feel something, I'm like, wait, damn it, what was that?
Yeah.
That's not good, or is it good? I don't know. Should I retire? Or, you know,
a lot.
you know how the brain goes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah.
When you're trying to do something difficult.
I think that's just like when you're doing something, like you're trying to be the peak at anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It makes you think a lot.
Exactly. Well, no matter what you're trying to do, probably.
Yeah,
Even if you're just
sure.
have a normal 9 to 5, where you're not like getting paid based on your performance, it's like life's just hard.
It is.
Especially those changes is the real hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's been so up and down, but it's not like, oh, a couple weeks here, mine's like every single day.
Yeah. You're like,
It's
all right, I'm
something
on track,
different.
and then the next day.
I felt so good winning in Turkey, and then I go to Denver, and I'm like, my volleyball felt good, and then we lost, so I was like happy with how I played, but bummed. And then I've got like yesterday I practiced against Sarah and Kelly, today I practiced against Betsy and Kelly, and I was just I got my ass kicked both days. I'm like, why am I doing this? I suck at volleyball. I feel terrible, and then I'm hoping for a little spike in energy this weekend with them, our first tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's trying to manage those emotions like every single day. It's
Yep.
something different because I'm, you know, especially with new partnership, I'm trying to prove myself, and I know practice isn't the best indicator of how you're going to do in tournaments, but I
I
mean,
think it can be though.
yeah,
Like,
when you're getting your ass kicked by Kelly and Sarah and Kelly and Betsy, you're like, okay, this is where I stand. I have to play on this weekend, and you know, I was feeling so good about my volleyball, and it puts you in place. Like I got a lot to freaking do still,
Right.
and I've been putting in a lot of effort. I've been really investing in the coaching and stuff, and trying to get better, but trying to balance it out. My emotions on the court have been great, like super steady. If I'm in kind of a side out rut, not panicking and stuff, and just ride it out. But it's like I came home today, and I just like laid on the floor. I'm like, oh, this feels terrible.
We're all going through it.
This is like big therapy.
I think that's
Right.
why it's
We're
yeah, exactly.
Travis is our therapist right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully a good weekend for all of us.
For sure.
I think we could all use it.
Yeah.
I think it's challenging too for you because haven't gotten to that consistent partnership and team and coaches
Yeah.
stage
I was
yet.
like finally getting there. Like we picked up Jen, Tony and I, literally New Orleans, we were like feeling it. Like we were finally getting into a good little groove. Update for anyone wondering, she ended up tearing her meniscus. So it wasn't her ACL. So we were kind of happy with anything other than an ACL because she thought it was her ACL, the AVP staff thought it was her ACL. On the MRI, the doctor thought it was like a partial tear in her ACL because she's already torn that one. They got in there, they're like, oh,
looks good.
it's your meniscus. Yeah, but she's had that knee, she's had she tore both ACLs, and that knee had bad complications, infections and stuff. So I think they operated 3 times on the same one, maybe 4.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
So just to fit, I mean, she had to get it drained and all these different things. So maybe all the scar tissue, I mean, maybe the MRI wasn't kind of very clear, but instead of 9 to 12 months, it's 2 or 3 months. So
that's amazing.
that's way better. It's still a big chunk of the summer, which is a bummer, and we had lots of plans to do stuff, but she'll be back. She could be back by Manhattan, Chicago. So
That's good.
But she'll be smart with her recovery and do what she needs to do.
Yeah.
She's working really hard. She wants to be back, but if she's not feeling right, then she'll be smart. Same thing like Tori Van Winden. I actually asked her to go to Morocco, and she was so mature with her response. She's just getting back cleared, and she was like, I really, really want to go. This is a huge opportunity for me to like get some international points, but I need to talk to Arby. I need to see what the sportsmen people there are going to be like and whatever. And she ended up reaching back out and was like, I just feel it in me physically, mentally, like it just doesn't feel right. Even though she's cleared to play.
Smart.
But I thought that was, as hard as that was for her to say that, like a really, really, really mature and smart decision. Like if you're mentally, physically not feeling it, like you can't be going international. I mean, it's hard enough to go do all the AVP stuff, let alone the international stuff. So that was really, really cool of her to respond that way. But yeah, Tony, she'll be back, and it was really, really hard for both of us as a friend, because she's my friend even more than a partner. And so to see her and talk to her on the phone and her question her entire, she moved out here from Louisiana and put everything into this, and to see her questioning, like, am I meant to do this? Like, is this, like, should I not be doing this? Like, if she tore ACL again, it was like, am I really going to come back and do this again after doing it 2 times, tore my labrum already? Like, is this part of my plan?
Yeah, should I go
and
get a
so
job?
to see that as a friend was really hard. And then we had group chats, group phone calls with Jen and Scott about, Tony, you should just call this season and recover, and Savvy, you need to go find someone else. I mean, that was like the craziest. As a friend, just
Super
really
difficult.
emotional. But April called it for this season, and so I picked up M, which was really lucky for me and a very interesting time. I sat around and waited for her. I was like, for Hermosa, I was like, can we play Hermosa? And she ended up saying yes. And it was going to be tough to kind of wait around tournament to tournament to see what was going on with April and stuff, and I think she ended up just calling it. So I got Em to commit to me through the Gold Series, and hopefully we can do well and go to Phoenix and do all. That's the goal. All we have goals and stuff, but we don't know where we stand. Like, we really don't know where we stand. We've practiced like 6 times together, maybe. So I'm really excited for this weekend to see how it goes.
Heck yeah.
It's the first time I played with any sort of veteran, so that'll be cool.
There's some silver lining in there for you.
100%.
Sure.
No, I got really, really lucky. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and she's already taught me a lot.
I think she's been on so many good teams with good coaches and like knows how to structure a team and kind of create that culture, which I'm sure her communication is just like
it's great.
Perfect.
She texted me today, hey, do you want me to set up a meeting with Peter, the sports psych, tomorrow in the morning?
See.
I was like, sports
so
psych?
you can skip a lot of those.
Okay,
you
sure,
can skip a lot of those steps that like people
Yeah.
have to do. It takes a lot of time because she just kind of knows where it's at, and then it's kind of plugging you into it and seeing how you fit and how you guys gel, but you'll get to see like what it's like as at the top
Yeah.
level because she's going to create that environment for you.
Exactly. Yeah, she's a stud. So, do we have time for any other questions?
Yeah,
We're an hour and 4 in.
An hour and 4.
Do one more. What's your fave?
Oh,
We got a lot.
There's
We've
a
done fan
lot.
question
Yeah,
episode
we
in a long
rambled.
time.
We rambled.
oh, okay. This is one. Should we bring back the freeze?
Oh, no.
Nah.
No, get it out of here.
That's a big no.
I think that's the best thing Bally's has done.
Yeah, what do you say? You think the same thing?
Yeah, just unnecessary.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
USA Volleyball actually asked a couple questions. I thought this one's kind of interesting. What's your take on serving aggressively or keeping it in and trusting your defense?
Depends if your defense is doing well or your serve. You know, it's like a momentum thing. Like, are you feeling your serve? Is your partner keeping it in right now, or are you both going for it? There's a lot of strategies there. For me personally, it's if my serve's on, I'm going for it.
You're going for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I do realize that, you know, we can just set guys up and I can just pop it in, like, great. That's ideal.
Yeah.
Because I'm not wasting much energy and
Yeah.
we're getting kind of easy points. So you just got to be aware of what's working.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think as an undersized blocker, my serve is my best defense. I think in Muskegon, that was our most reliable source of points. We were down 6-1, and then we switched up 8-6
Wow.
when I was just serving as hard as I could.
Like
into the wind.
topspin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I was surprised that we did as well as we did in Denver, because I couldn't really serve as well as I normally can.
Yeah.
But we made it work.
Yeah.
Just because I have a lot of different serves. I like, because I don't hit it super hard. I just put like a lot of funk on it.
Yeah.
I like
Lefty
my hybrid
funk.
serve is one of
Yeah.
my favorites, and then just like my favorite has been the line-to-line short serve. The short serves, I think, are the most underused.
They're so underrated, I
even
think.
if it's like not a great
Or
short
even
serve.
the
High deep
Yeah.
one.
We're like, that's easy. And
That was the Steinmetz
wait, now I'm way back
special.
here.
Yeah.
He taught us, that was like the first one he taught us at school, was
Yeah.
the standing
High deep, yeah.
serve. And then you throw in the short one too.
Yeah.
Like that, he was big on that. Yeah.
And it just makes people uncomfortable. It changes their approach. Like you make them pass and then back all the way back up. And when they don't back all the way up, then you know that they're probably going to shoot.
Right.
And so you can do a lot. Like you can put people in positions where you kind of know what's going to happen or have a much better idea.
Yeah.
So I think serving is super important. I mean, it's basically like the pitch in baseball. Like if you're just like lobbing in
Exactly.
Right.
50-mile-an-hour changeups, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, and I think if you have variety, like you were saying, variety on your serve, that's really important because, like, I've been using a short serve pretty often against blockers and just like same line to line short serve and just trying to take away if there's a big attacker, like just try and
Just cut their legs out.
take their approach. I mean, you occasionally get an ace, but usually not. But it's just to take the swing away, and I think that's been super effective.
When I see someone short serve me, like intentionally, I like make it a point to like put that first one away because it's like, oh, if they find out that it's working and it's gassing you, they're just gonna ride you on that thing the whole time. So I'm like, just tell them, nope, that's not gonna work. Try something else.
Throw it up,
but just because I don't want
yeah.
I don't want you to do it, you know.
Yeah,
or option it. Well, which is nice for me to have, you know, for us both to be blocker like 6'5" is like it might be tough to short serve us off the court.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see Fort Lauderdale because it's going to be hot. That might be the tournament where every blocker is just like short.
Not
deep.
as hot
Here you
as
go.
Mikkel's was today.
It's been so hot out there.
Capsaicing the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was dripping, and it's like 95 up there all the time.
Yeah. I went out there for an appointment the other day, and I brought Evan, and I was like, "It's so hot." He's like, "Yeah,
Try
this is
getting in
how
Mikkel's
this
garage."
is. Yeah, this is how it is in the garage." I'm like, "Oh my, that's gnarly." It's good training though, because all the tournaments coming up besides Hermosa are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's great.
I mean, Atlanta last year was like, I thought I was gonna die. Like I don't do the heat. I've born and raised here. Like the humidity is not my thing, and I got there and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna leave this player's tent. And they had it all dialed with like the AC and all that stuff, and I don't even remember how I ended up playing. This year we've had some hot tournaments, but
great.
I think they're doing that
Night matches
again.
in Atlanta were dope.
I think they're doing that again.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Fort Lauderdale will be the first tournament we've been in together in a long time. I'm hoping we
All three
match
of
I'm
up.
so excited.
Oh,
you're
me
doing
and you.
I hope me and you play each other. It has to happen at
I
some
know.
point. It hasn't
I know.
happened yet.
I'm gonna be ready for your little boots.
You guys haven't played each other?
No.
Never?
We like are never in the same tournament.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you were sick for a
I
little
haven't
bit.
played Evan either.
Yeah.
That's right, you haven't played Evan.
I know. That's the problem with being a top seed is like when you play guys you haven't played before, it's like, damn it. Like friends too. It's like
You know what's funny
it's
is
all the pressure's on me.
Evan loves
He can
talking
only just
shit.
go for an upset.
Evan loves talking shit, and he does it sometimes, and
You
and
better bring it versus us then.
he's made it very clear if he plays
gonna
you
get
and
Trevor.
Trevor, he's like, I think that's the one team that you don't want to talk shit to.
I was like, yes.
He
Trevor bring it
knows.
out,
He,
though.
Oh,
yeah.
come on.
No,
Come
Trevor will
on,
probably
dude.
try to instigate. Trevor instigates it. He might, but he's like, that's the one team that I think it would only make them play better. So I probably won't.
Well, now I know that it's his strategy, so fuck that.
Oops, sorry, I was threw you under the bus. No, but it's funny. He's actually mentioned that.
With Trevor too, I've told him too. I'm like, just so you know, like there's people who play better, right? Like
I think
when you go
Evan
at
plays
Phil,
better.
Like he's
Yeah.
like, oh, all right, I'll go from 70% to 100 now.
Yeah.
Like, damn, we could have kept him sleeping. He'd give us one here and there. So yeah, it's definitely smart to know who to talk to and who not to. But for me, I'm like, I don't talk to people generally. If they talk to me, then I'm happy to engage.
Yeah.
You just do your little stare down.
Yeah, I'll do my stare downs. When I'm not feeling my game, I like test stuff out
Yeah.
for myself. You
Yeah.
know, like, is angry try working? No.
Yeah.
Is happy try working? So I'm just like going through. Like,
Yeah.
He's playing out of his mind. I'm just gonna start talking shit to him because you can't play better.
No,
and I can't
exactly.
play worse.
So why not?
Let's see if this does anything. So yeah, I go through the range of emotions when I'm playing.
That's awesome.
As you can probably see on the
What
court.
personality can we pick today?
Yeah, I'm very bipolar.
And what would be sick? I was just talking to someone about it this morning. If we could get Geeter out there with Mark this weekend and just do a little combo.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
They should invite him out.
that'd be funny.
Be a duo.
Yeah, that would be. That would be. Have they done anything together?
I don't think so.
They do a duet. Give them 2 mics.
Yeah. Like Mark introduces one team.
Yeah,
against
you
the
does
other.
the
Like
other.
a competition.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would
Pit
be
them against
epic.
each other.
AVP, write that down.
And then, but like during the match, they're also like kind of commentating, but biased towards one team or the other.
Yeah.
My guys are
like
going,
he's
let's
get-
go, guys.
It's like a boxing
for
promoter.
Trevor and Try, come on. And then Mark's like, no. The Travis fans.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
That'd be awesome.
That would be funny.
That's a great idea, actually.
There we go.
Pick your sides, people.
Josh, we
There's
gotta tell
neutral,
Josh.
no neutral fans out here, which I totally love.
Hey, AVP management. That's what we think.
AVP management.
Hey, you're welcome.
That's just the comment.
Copyright SANDCAST.
Oh man, you guys.
I'm glad we got the team back together.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't know
guys.
when this will happen again.
Yeah.
I'm out for a while, so
See you in September.
Yeah, really.
August.
Hopefully we got some good results in there
Yeah.
throughout the team.
Yep.
Hopefully me and Trav battle.
Hopefully. It'll
Yeah.
be fun.
Good
Sweet.
results for all of us this weekend. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
'Cause
We can
none
all
of
do
us
that
have to
without
go
running
against
into
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be in the back. Let's all
Oh
win.
yeah, perfect.
It's all
We can all
win.
win on the
3
same
wins
That would
would
be
be
great.
amazing.
That would
sick.
be insane.
Heck yeah.
Okay,
SANDCAST
team.
squad. Let's go.
Love it.
All right, squad.
All right, guys. Shoots.